Welcome back to episode 68 of the Disorganized Wizard Club podcast. My name's Alex, and here as always with Adam.
Hi.
And Cam.
Hello.
And we're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything we can qualify for. We talk about decks, tournaments, stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Most deaf kids. Easily.
Most definitely. Coming off pre-release weekend, Rivals of Ixalan.
Easiest wins of my life.
You played once. You played once.
Easy 4-0. I only played the midnight. I was like, supposed to babysit downstairs neighbor's dog on Saturday.
Downstairs neighbor dog?
Yeah, downstairs neighbor dog.
Great dog.
That dog is incredible. Super friendly. But I only played one because of it. This format, I was so much happier to play.
It's so much better than straight Ixalan.
Oh, yeah.
Just in general, games felt like Magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the better pre-releases I've played in a long time. Sealed felt fun, and it also didn't feel like Hour, where I was just sort of like, well, time to play these Gifts of Paradise and Amonkhet and stuff, and just like play 5-color and just play all my bombs and like hope for the best and just smash. I actually had to like think about my deck construction and what was the best avenue of attack, and also like what strategy I wanted to employ. Mm-hmm. But it also didn't feel like linear and useless and like kind of hopeless versus certain matchups like Ixalan Seal did.
Like that too. Like you had to think about what strategy you wanted to employ, in that there were multiple viable strategies again. It was so nice.
Unheard of.
Yeah, no, it was great. Cam, how many events did you play?
5.
How'd you fare overall?
Okay, so I lost to Adam in the midnight, was my only loss.
Stomped.
So
I'm just kidding.
3-1, then I went 2-2 at 9 in the morning, and then 3-0 split. Then we 3-1 2-headed giant.
Yeah.
And then I went 3-1 at 9 on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You're out the old average 3-1 performance. Which is good. Above average.
I mean, some of those losses were like to you, which, you know, it happens about 20% of the time.
Oh my. Happens to everybody.
One was
100% of the time.
One was to the Immortal Sun, which is unbeatable.
That card is bananas.
Yeah.
A friend of mine from back home, was like a time zone, like 3 hours away, and I was like building his deck, and I was already like a few rounds in. But I already, like, when you were putting your deck together, I think you had Immortal Sun or Dave did. No, it was Dave, like our friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that card's insane. Like, the card's going to be so busted and limited. We've even talked about it on the podcast. And my friend from back home was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm going to play it because it seems insane. But, like, everyone, because, like, I don't know why, but he's like, yeah, everyone at the store was like, oh, that card sucks. It's, like, not really good and limited. He was like, And then he just, like, easily won his pre-release. Just every time he casted, the game ended a few turns later because drawing 2 cards a turn, all your creatures are bigger.
I saw a tweet from Owen Turtenwald on the weekend saying, if your opponent plays Mortal Sun, just do yourself a favor and concede instead of sitting through losing to it for the next 10 minutes.
So I also saw that tweet because Alex showed it to me after I just sat losing to the Immortal Sun for 10 minutes. He's like, oh, why didn't you know this?
And then going in, that was in between his game 1 and 2. Game 2, opponent casts it again on turn 6. Cam doesn't concede because he's dumb.
Well, it's game 2.
And then the next turn, his opponent casts Rivers Rebuke and immediately killed him.
That's what my friend did back home too. He had Rivers Rebuke and Immortal Sun. He's like, oh yeah, I hadn't seen this Rivers Rebuke card before, but wow, because he skipped Ixalan.
My opponent's curve was nuts both games. It was turn 1 Heartstopper, turn 2 2-1 First Strike, turn 3 I don't know, do nothing, turn 4 Chupacabra, something else, Immortal Sun.
Yeah,
dead.
Yeah, never, like, he was playing Grixis. Never stumbled on mana.
Yeah.
Cracked.
Cam was a little salty afterwards.
I thought my deck was very good. My deck, I opened like 5 on color, like black, white rares with like a bunch of good supporting uncommons. And like, I thought it was like a pretty easy 4-0 deck. And then my round 1, I had 0 chance.
Yeah. I played 4 events. I went 2-2, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Which is weird. I think my 2-2 deck was one of the better ones. I played black-white splashing. Or no, I played black-blue splashing white. My second deck was Vampires. Champion of Dusk was amazing.
Which one's that?
5 mana, 4/4 draws a card for each vampire you have in play.
Oh, yeah. That card's wild.
Oh, yeah. I consistently drew 4 cards off it. It was fantastic. And then
that card's just a windmill slam first pick in every draft you play.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Like a windmill slam. Like you're you're just thrilled that that's
you
your
just force
card.
vampires harder than you've ever forced them before.
Yeah, like that card's insane.
And Cam and I had 2 pretty sweet decks for our 2-headed giant, but unfortunately, I didn't draw more than 2 lands in one game, and he wasn't able to 2v1 our opponents.
I almost did because Journey to Eternity is crazy.
Yeah, we had double Journey to Eternity in Cam's deck, which was unbelievably good.
Okay, so I don't know how it's going to turn out in draft, and obviously we're unsure of that right now. We'll know in like a week or two when we get a bunch more drafts in. But in sealed, like the best and craziest cards we're talking about, like Profane was another one.
Yeah, Profane Procession.
Profane Procession, yeah. Like the best cards in sealed here that we're talking about are all just bomb, grindy, like god tier cards. Like,
Oh, I got smushed by Hadana's Climb in the first event.
yeah,
Just on
like
turn
these
3, I'm
grindy, like
okay, I'm
yeah,
dead.
we called it. Like this format seems way grindier. Like it's way slower. Like I played at the 1i4. Like I played. Well, my deck also had Tetsamok, and that card's just not realistic at all.
Yeah.
I did only cast it like twice, but both times I just plague winded my opponent.
Yeah, from what I've been seeing on Twitter, Tetsamok is the glory bringer of this format.
Yeah, it was.
The unbeatable rare that you just can't.
Yeah, it was comical. Like at one point, one of the 2, I'm so unlucky that I only ever drew it twice, but actually I drew it against Cam and didn't need it to kill him. So, but I was like very behind. Well, it was like a really big board stall, but he had the 7-mana dino that you can pay 5 or 6 or whatever, make a 3/3.
Okay, yeah.
And he was starting to make 3, and it was going to be a problem. But it was like, I don't know, like turn 20, and I had like 13 lands in play, and I drew Tetsamok, and I was like, oh, never mind. Like,
Plague Wind.
put a counter on this, 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 your turn. Like, and then he's like, and he has like
shit.
still no good attacks. And he
Yeah.
he just conceded because he's like, oh, you're just going to kill me immediately on the crackback, or like on your next turn. I'm like, yep. Fair and balanced card.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing the other time. At board stall, I drew it, Plague Wind his board. Or like he had to make bad attacks, because that's basically what they have to do then, right? Like they just have to suicide their board because they're all going to die anyway. So you might as well get some damage in or trade something.
Yep.
So like, yeah, that card is ridiculous. My deck was pretty funny. I was just playing junk dinos. My mana fixing was very good.
Yeah.
But like also I was very grindy. Like I was playing the Verdant Suns Avatar, the Gain Life one. I also had the White Mythic, 5 mana 5/5 Trapjaw.
Yeah.
Which I was like, it's probably going to be okay. Like the rate alone is good, but man, it was much better than I thought it was going to be. Like it just shut down the board instantly.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Nothing.
Can't attack.
Right. And
ever.
also, if they attack and make a quote unquote bad attack, it's not a bad attack. They have Divine Verdict or a combat trick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could just keep it alive. So you're just losing everything. Yeah, that card is also bananas. So my deck was just crazy. I had the 2 mana 1/1 when it comes into play, draw a card. That card's also just bananas.
Nice.
The Phyrexian Rager.
Yep.
Yeah, that card is.
Yeah, that card was very, very good.
It's insane.
It's Elfish Visionary, which is obviously very good.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a vampire.
yeah. In the last event, I played 4 colors. It was, what was it? Blue,
You were
white.
blue black. Splash.
It was Grixis splashing.
You were blue black splashing like 2 bombards and then a raging sword tooth.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. The
Yeah,
double splash each direction.
It was sweet. My mana was great because I had double Evolving Wilds, a Traveler's Amulet. I had all these Sailor Means. The deck was fantastic. I had all this removal.
Yeah, my sealed deck, though, I kind of hit the jackpot for fixing. Like, I opened Forbidden Sanctuary, Foul Orchard, Sunpel Grove. So I had 2 of each of my 3 colors in across my double lance and then a Traveler's Amulet. I was like,
Nice.
oh, okay. I'm just
Yeah.
7 of each source, basically, like in my mana base, like be able to cast everything, like my 2 drops of 3 colors, like easily. Like, I just like lucky.
Yeah. And I had a few like key Ascend cards in my deck, which I like. Ascend was so easy to get. Like I played Prosperous Pirates, the 5 mana 3/4 make 2 treasures, which just ramps you to it pretty much
It just gives
immediately.
you Ascend right away. Yeah. Somebody cast Call to the Feast, the make 3/1/1 lifelink vampires for 4 against me, and just was like, I have Ascend on like turn 4. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So you do, because they'd played something on like turn 2 or 3 that, I got, right? I think it was the land, the colorless land.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that was fast.
Yeah.
A lot faster than I thought it was going to be. Like Ascend was a lot easier.
Yep.
And it definitely made the like search for the Golden City a lot better.
Yeah, like Ascend was easy enough to turn on when you wanted to, but I also found that the cards weren't like that overbearing once someone had Ascend. Like it was a very well balanced mechanic.
Did you
Yeah,
ever
we
cast-
weren't-
Did you ever cast a Golden Demise?
No.
We weren't worried, or we were worried, remember?
Yeah.
But we didn't need to be.
Yeah, it was very well balanced.
Yeah.
Communa's Awakening, the 4-mana enchantment that on your upkeep, you and your opponent draw a card.
The Howling Mine.
If you have the City's Blessing, only you draw a card.
Yeah.
Had that in our 2-headed giant deck. Cam tried to get me to cut it. I was like, no way, this card's busted.
Yeah, I was very wrong about
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend said back home, he said in his pre-release too, he said the looter was really good too, but if you exile instead.
The looter.
The 2-mana artifact that you can draw a card and then exile one from your hand.
Oh, the thing that flips when you like have exiled
5
cards with 5 different CMCs.
5 different CMCs.
Oh, okay.
He said it was really, really good in his deck. He was
Really?
like, yeah, I just always found what I needed. Like, he's like, I just pitch because you pitch whatever. He's like,
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't have to flip it.
It's
You
just a
keep
looter
looting, yeah.
that like loots forever.
And then it flips to add mana equal to your life total, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah. And you
Okay.
gain 5 life when it flips.
Oh, okay.
So like, he said it was very good.
Yeah, I believe it. But yeah,
Other cards that like were surprisingly good, like because obviously like Immortal Sun and Tetzmoc are like just obviously insane.
yeah.
I didn't see anyone else play any of the other Elder Dinos.
I played the white one in my second event and cast it a whole bunch of times.
Did you ever lose when you cast it?
No, I didn't lose a game. I cast it.
Yeah, you know,
But like I was thinking about cutting it because I'm like
it's expensive.
I'm just playing black white. I don't have any like treasure makers. There's no ramp. But I mean, the games were grindy, so I just consistently got to 8 mana and then played it and won immediately. I don't know. It seemed good. I saw the blue one a few times. I saw the red one as well.
Yeah, I cast the red one I saw, and it seemed to definitely be the worst. I cast the blue one a couple times, activated it once. It was fine. Just being a 7/7 is good.
yeah,
I did lose to a Galta. The one I saw it. My opponent cast it. I died immediately.
Oh, the green one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll get you. That one's probably good in limited.
Yeah.
because like
Yeah, it's a 12/12 for 2 mana.
right, like you just
Always.
play it on turn 5 or 6 as a 12/12. Like
I almost lost to it. They like cast Galta, and then I put Water Knot on it, and then they Ixalan binding my Water Knot, and my hand was land, Water Knot, and I couldn't cast anything.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else impressed? Oh man, the 2-mana 2/1 that when it attacks.
Kite Sail Corsair.
Oh,
So
Yep.
my midnight event, I had 3 of those.
oh yeah, you did.
And then I had like 2 Curious Obsessions. I just went like, I played all of my blue-red 2-drops and just like as aggressive as I could.
And some 1-drops.
And a bunch of 1-drops too,
I
yeah.
got crumpled one of the 3 games him and I
Yeah,
played.
Adam like beat me in 3, and then we played a bunch of other games for fun. And like, if I curved out, it was just no chance.
Yeah, well, like the game 2 I lost against you in our actual match, like I just conceded at like 12 life because I was like, I can't.
Yeah,
Like, I just conceded out of like, I've seen enough. Like I wasn't dead on board even, but I was like, there's nothing I can do. Like I can Divine Verdict your 2-drop,
Yeah.
and then die. Like
Yeah.
I just can't catch up because he went like 1-drop, 2-drop, attack, 2-drop, 1-drop
it was.
on 3. Like he played the 1-mana gets +1/+1 if you raid. Like if you attack this turn,
Okay,
like
yeah.
first strike guy. I was like, I'm just like so dead. Like yeah, I had no chance.
It was dope.
But like the 2-mana 2/1 that it has, I mean, obviously if you're playing that card, like you're going face and you're going face fast. That card's never blocked in its life.
Yeah.
And it's short life.
Yeah.
That card is great. A 2-mana 2/1 flyer is like, that's just so good.
Yeah, it's like
Do you
Shaper
remember
Apprentice.
Vaporkin?
Yeah. Yeah. Those Welkin turn. Those cards are always great.
Yeah, they're so good. So like, but I mean, it's just the pirate synergy with it too. Like it was just, I don't know. And it also enabled raid. Like in this set, I'm saying like
All the flyers I've found in this set are very good.
yeah. But in this set in particular, or I guess in this block in particular, like that kind of card is better than normal because like a Vaporkin, like there wasn't raid in the format, right? Like there's all these things that encourage you to be attacking, and it's just kind of like has evasion built in, like, and it doesn't need anything for you to turn that evasion on. Like it enables a raid, like it does all these things that you want. It's
So
a pirate.
I wonder in this next draft format, because the only pack of Ixalan will be pack 3, if you're one of the pupil in pirates at the table, and you've taken a bunch of these like Kite Sail Corsairs, you're probably going, I mean, like Pirates Cutlass is good in other decks, but people won't be first picking them speculatively anymore. And so like any that are opened in pack 3 will go through more people than they used to. So like the Pirates players might end up with more Cutlasses than they used to.
Oh yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, pirates might just get better because of that, right? Because of the position of the draft. Whereas like Merfolk people will still fight over it probably like pretty hard.
Yeah, because they're still good Merfolk.
Merfolk's
Like,
crazy.
and they'll be
like-
good pirate cards, but like your swashbucklings, your one with the winds, your like everything that you exactly want to put on your 2/1 flyer, you're just gonna get more of in pack 3. Well,
You know,
potentially.
I think from my experience so far, I think Merfolk is the one tribe that got worse with this set.
Yeah, but they're still good in Merfolk, and I think it
There's
balances
just
out.
less good cards. All the good Merfolk cards are in Ixalan, and you
Yeah.
only get one pack of them now.
Well, they're still really good on commons.
Yeah, but they're on commons.
Yeah, I know. The commons aren't
like
the same.
the nuttiest Merfolk decks were the ones that had 2, 3, 4 Riverheld wounds.
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
Trading that for aggressive urge is
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe actually, like Merfolk might be worse.
Yeah, and honestly, like
I think they just like toned down though in some ways, like how hard the tribes feel because they added like grindier, slower cards to this set.
mhm.
And I think that's something that made it better for me, at least at sealed, was like the removal. And I think it's going to make the draft better. It's like you can interact now.
Yeah.
Like it's like Cam said, they felt like games of Magic because you weren't just dead. Like somebody played a 1 with the wind against me. I think it was you, and I was like, okay, kill that guy.
yeah.
You know, and I was like, but in Ixalan, I'd have been like, uh-oh, you know, like you play
Yeah.
1 with the wind and you're like, oh God, I better draw my 1 removal spell
Mhm.
or this game's over.
Yeah.
Whereas like I had something in hand, you know, like I was like, okay, I nuke that thing, like move on with my life.
Yeah. I'm very happy with my first impression, like first experiences. In
Yeah,
this format.
I thought it was a good time. And like our friend Dave, who like doesn't really play Magic anymore, he missed the last like couple or maybe more pre-releases. He came out and he was like, man, that set was a lot of fun. Like he was like, I can't believe
Yeah.
how much fun that was. He's like, I actually can't wait for the next pre-release, you know? Like he had so much fun.
I intentionally booked myself not to work on Saturday so I can play the release sealed.
Yeah.
I actually want to play it this format.
Is it really sealed or are they doing draft weekend again?
I'm
think they offer
pretty
both
I'm
simultaneously,
pretty sure it's
but
really sealed.
I
from
think
what
they do
saw.
both, yeah. Where is that?
You can come play release sealed or draft weekend, whichever is being offered, at Wizards Tower, the Ottawa store. You can also visit them at wizardstower.com.
Great sponsor of this podcast.
Free shipping on singles to Canada and the United States.
Yeah, if you haven't
a couple more days
pre-ordered-
to pre-order your Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan's cards, or just wait and actually order them.
It's both draft weekend and release sealed.
Yeah, they're doing both. So you can just have the best of both worlds.
However, if you are visiting their website, I would not recommend buying any Rogue Refiners or Attune with Aethers or Rampaging Ferocidons or Raminap Ruins.
Probably not. Why is that?
Well, there was a wave of bannings.
Yeah, so let's talk about this for a moment because I was very much on the side of there would be no bannings.
Oh,
me
all
too.
of us were.
We all were.
We all look like idiots for the first time.
Yeah, we were
Ever.
actually wrong once. It's crazy.
Jeez, first time for everything, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I feel about them, to be honest.
So
I guess it's okay.
that's kind of where I'm at now too. Like at first, I thought this is clearly a mistake. Like this is going to be terrible.
I just thought
for
from consumer confidence.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
They
I was
couldn't
like-
ban again. Like,
You know what, though? What pisses me off the most about these bans is the next Pro Tour is modern.
yeah.
Like, I'd be much more excited for the Pro Tour. It's a fresh format. New set came out, and we just banned old cards. Like, why? Why does it have to be modern? Modern
Yeah.
going back and ruining everything like it always does.
Yeah. My first
God damn.
impression was, like WotC is just being really stupid with these bannings and their policies lately. But then, like a couple days after the bannings were announced, Adam and I kind of had this thought that like, because we were standing around in the kitchen, like coming up with standard decks that we want to like put together and try and test. And a bunch of other people also seemed excited for standard. Like there's a bunch of weird decks being played on Moto streams. And like, if these bannings just get people to show up for standard, then I'm fine with them.
Yeah, if standard starts to fire again at your F&M and local stores and like just events in general and people show up for them, okay, fine. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. I was talking to Ben about this though, like a couple days ago. I was like, if they had just banned Attune with Aether a year ago, none of this would have been an issue. Like if they had just banned Attune, Marvel wouldn't have been as dangerous, right?
Mhm.
Like so many of
Four color Sahili wouldn't really have functioned. It would have been
Right,
two,
like-
3 color decks.
yeah, exactly. Like if they had just banned Attune, like they almost wouldn't have had to ban most of the other things. Like,
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assessment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that it would have solved like a lot of the problems.
That's still like
There's still like huge amounts of problems with standard, like that the answers still suck, that there's only answers only in certain colors for certain things. Like we were having like a pretty long conversation with our other roommate too, like Pete, the other day about how like we were recalling, and actually Dave at pre-release too, we were recalling like the best standard formats and what we thought were the best standard formats. And if you remember, we thought that like you know when Farseek, even though that card is very problematic, like when Farseek was in standard and the Jund deck existed,
Yep.
there was also like a million other decks.
Yep.
Right? Like there was so many. There was like the Angel of Glory's Rise combo human deck. There was
Reanimator, Abzan Reanimator as well.
Yeah, there was Naya midrange. There was the Naya aggro deck with like Champion of the Parish and stuff. Like there were like aristocrats. This whole era had like just so many decks to choose from. There were probably like 8 tier 1 standard decks. Like it was crazy, maybe more. Like there was so many you could play. And it almost felt like every couple weeks, like someone came up with this new crazy standard deck or like.
That was Sphinx's Rev was in that format too.
Yeah, and like it wasn't even just like, because that was before, it was just before Mono Blue, Mono Black. I'm talking about the format just before that. Sphinx's Rev existed, but it wasn't even like it won a GP. It wasn't even dominating. Like it would top 8 a Pro Tour, but it wouldn't win it. Like
no, it won the Pro Tour, didn't it?
No, that was during like Planar Cleansing era and stuff. That was the Mono Black, Mono Blue era. I'm talking about before that. Like
okay.
And it's like there was like all these crazy different decks and so many things were viable. And I was talking to Pete and Cam about why. And it's like the problem right now is when you think about like, okay, I'm going to build this deck, right? I want to build this like blue-black mid-range deck. What cards are you going to put in it? Okay, 4 Fatal Push, like 2 Vraska's Contempt, Scarab Gods, Hostage-Taker. Then I don't know.
Chupacabra.
The rest doesn't matter.
Because the rest doesn't matter because it's just filler because I'm just trying to draw these busted cards. So what I was saying is like, the power level is too low among the majority of cards in standard and has been for a while that like you don't get to pick and choose. Like when that Jund deck, so like it's complicated and this like weird history for people who didn't play during that time. But the reason I brought up the Jund deck is like that Jund deck had Tragic Slip, I think Doomblade, Ultimate Price, Dreadbore.
The Damned.
Yeah, well that card's a whole different story. But like it had Dreadbore, it had like all these different removal spells that were situational and varied, like Tragic Slip, everything, right? Like they even played sometimes like the 1-mana deal too. Like
you had Searing Spear as well.
Right, Searing Spears. Like there was so many removal spells, but you had to choose like, okay, I'm gonna build this like kind of grindy Jund mid-range deck for standard, but I need to pick like what of my 20 removal spells, I'm going to like what configuration because what does the metagame look like? But what I was saying, like the important lesson from that was that you could not play good removal spells. You had the option, right? Imagine we lived in a standard world right now where you could be like, no, I'm not playing Fatal Push. I don't need it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We don't have efficient answers.
Right. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And so like that's why these things just get so out of hand because like creatures are just unbeatable now, right? The way that Magic is designed. They're just so good that like they're worth more than any spell. Like that's the problem with even Vraska's Contempt. It's like costs 4. So when they play Chandra and they already got the value out of it, and then I have to Vraska's Contempt it. So my card is always, my removal spell is always worth less than their creature or planeswalker.
Yeah.
Like that's a problem. And that's something that's like needs to be addressed.
Like how do you kill Hazoret?
Right. Like Vraska's Contempt, you already took 5.
Like, do you have anything that costs less than 4 mana to kill it?
No, and you were already taking 5.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's all sorcery speed. If it is, like you could, like there's not even a Banishing Light. Like P was making the argument that Banishing Light should be an evergreen card, just like Negate or Duress. Like they should be cards that are almost always in standard.
Yeah.
Because they're healthy and they answer those kind of problematic things. And that's the problem is like, they're just, the power spike in standard is too high because now like everyone's joking like how are you going to beat Scarab God, right? Like the power spikes are too high. Like the lows are so low and the highs are so high in standard. Something's like,
yeah.
That's why these bans keep happening. I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I
really just think we just need efficient answers in standard.
Yeah, I agree.
Like 2 mana, 3 mana cards that will actually just kill. Like, if we had an actual answer to energy as a mechanic, like Solemnity was a mess up by them. Like, they could have made that card playable.
Yeah.
And if it was an actual good answer to energy, then we might not seen energy completely wreck the format.
Yeah. I mean, the mechanic itself is a problem, sure. Yeah. But, like, also, there was just no efficient ways for, like, that's the thing. Like, people, I hate this idea of Magic that they have. Like, Morrow has it, and, like, all these, like, designers have this idea that, like, oh, Doomblade is too good, right? Okay, so, like, you Doomblade. But the thing is, modern creatures in Magic all are worth more than a Doomblade. Like even if you lost on mana, if I play your average like 4-drop creature, let's say I play Huntmaster of the Fells and you Doomblade it. Okay, I still have a 2/2 wolf and I gain 2 life. So like efficient removal is never even that efficient because of the way that creatures are now designed.
Yeah.
So like that is the problem, that we don't have like these answers that aren't really they're not as trading up as people think they are. Like I don't know. It's just bad design. Like the whole set was a train wreck. Like everything's been a train wreck in Standard for a long time. It's been ugly, man. Like because I like Standards, like the format I would play the most.
It's my favorite format. It just hasn't been over the past.
So I didn't mind the energy mirrors, and I've said that a bunch. I don't mind, but obviously other people did, and that kind of made it so people stopped showing up.
Yeah.
Like
it seemed like before every Pro Tour, we'd be like, we're excited to see what's going to happen. And then just nothing exciting ever happened. It's always just what we thought it would be.
That was a beating, like every single tournament. Even last week on the podcast, right? We like the team event. We were like, and the top 4 from the team GP were all energy. Like it was not close. Like it was just all energy. So that was getting a bit stale. I made our jobs harder. No, seriously, like it's boring to listen to, especially with like listeners, tune in and they're like, hey, I want to like hear about the Standard meta. And I know people who have messaged us and said, like I haven't played in a while, so I listen to the podcast to see what's going on in Standard and see what deck I should play or what you guys think the meta is going. And like our advice, eventually we just caved in, right? We were like, just play energy. Like we got nothing.
We did a whole episode on it.
Yeah.
Give up on your dreams, kids.
Right. Like I'll admit that's not a good look. Although, the Rogue Refiner ban,
I don't know. Like,
Attune is by far the most offensive out of the whole list.
Yeah, Rampaging Ferocidon was kind of out of left field. I don't think anyone really saw that coming.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too, but I think it's probably because they thought, well, it's cutting off avenues of escape for other decks that red doesn't usually cut off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that.
Like tokens decks, right? Like, I like the Esper tokens deck we used to play. That deck's probably like D's now.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like Ramunap Ruins and Ferocidon. Like, Mono Red, was huge in the format, but was that like, I don't know if it was just because. And
I'm shocked by that.
It's hard.
Man.
I just don't
And
know.
over Hazoret, like the card that what did you just ask? How do you kill a Hazoret?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't even block it. Like, you can if you want to lose your creatures for no reason. Like,
you used to be able to block it with a Hydra, but now you won't have enough energy.
Yeah, like I don't understand. I think it should have been Hazoret. That card is offensive. That card's very offensive.
Just leave Ferocidon and Ruins and just ban Hazoret.
I think banning Hazoret is way safer.
I mean,
it's always the card that kills you, basically.
I get that it would be safer for the format. And like if, as you mentioned, we were concerned for player confidence. If they were not at all concerned about player confidence, then that might make sense. But I don't think you can, like, some people only have mono red built. And if you ban Hazoret and Ramunap Runes, they don't have a standard deck anymore.
Yeah, and they just can't play.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that to Energy, though.
Right, but they banned cards that cost a couple cents, right? Like, if that.
No, but
still,
my favorite is the Marvel thing, right? Like when they banned Marvel, they were like, well, all the Marvel players, though, at least they own an Energy deck.
Yeah, well, what now?
Yeah.
What now?
What now?
And just put Jadelight Ranger in it.
Big deck a minute ago. Jadelight Ranger is crazy.
Yeah, I think that card's great.
You should pre-order them if you have not, or it's probably too late. They're probably too expensive already because people are already getting onto it.
Yeah.
But even outside of just adding cards to Teamer, like Glorybringer, Hydra, Long Test Cub, like these will find homes in other decks in Standard. They have to. They're just such a good rate.
Man.
So
all I know now is it's time for Chupacabra to reign supreme.
That card is going to be an issue.
We were joking the other day, like how long do you think we're gonna have Chupacabra in the format for? Cam said 6 months. I'd say by the time next year, it'll probably.
I was like half joking, but also who knows?
That card's not gonna get banned.
You don't think
right?
So?
No, Necrotal was in the format, like in other formats, but not banned.
This is not Necrotal. It's way better.
I know.
See, I'm learning because I just thought something wouldn't get banned and then it did. So
yeah, what do we know?
Right.
I mean, everything except for what's gonna get
everything
banned.
except for what's gonna get banned. Right. So
I hate that. This is a question I brought up though, because like, I wish just we didn't have to worry about cards being banned in Standard, like the good old days. Like, everything's great.
That was why I didn't like the bannings at first, because everyone's first reaction was joking about, oh, well, now when is card X going to get banned?
Yeah, and also I hate that it's going to lead to just like this card won a tournament, ban it. You know, like people whining because they don't like a card. And like that's what scares me.
It's going to turn into what like Modern used to be. Everyone's just, got to ban this birthing pod. Next, what's the next ban after this one?
What's the next best deck? Like, is it really that oppressive? No, but is it like winning too much? Okay, ban it. You know, like there's just like, yeah, for a while it felt like Magic's philosophy was like there can't be a best deck. And it's like, well,
just like,
okay, well, if that's the case, then you have to go do what I'm talking about and print a million powerful busted stuff. Like, also, even if you think back to that format with the Jund deck that I was talking about, right? There was these Reanimator decks. How many answers were there to graveyards in that format? Ground Seal. Jund used to main 2 Ground Seals.
Yeah.
Rest in Peace. Scavenging Ooze. Like, dude, there was some of the best graveyard hate of all time. Like,
do you think energy would have been as dominant as it was if there was an actual like Day of Judgment in the format?
if there was Supreme Verdict, that's the problem. There needs to be Verdict, not Day of Judgment, because it needs to be uncounterable and an uncounterable Wrath. Because the best deck was a mid-range deck that was blue, right?
Yeah.
So like Wraths weren't enough. Like that's why even in the statistics and the banning they released, they were like, yeah, they could win game one. Like Approach and blue-white cycling decks could win game one, but would lose post-board. They would lose the match still. Even if they were heavily skewed to be able to beat Energy, they would still lose because they brought in 4 negates. And so that was the issue, yeah. I think if like there was Supreme Verdict, maybe, and a good Planeswalker in control.
Yeah, we definitely don't have that right now.
Yeah. Like a Jace Architect of Thought.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Man, that card was good.
That card was awesome. Yeah, something like that. Like just a way for them to like control the early mid game, you know, like turns 2 till 4, like which control just like can't do. They just have like crappy like 1-for-1 answers, maybe.
Yeah.
If they line up, like that's why the control decks stank.
So
They have no early play. They have no velocity.
So where do we go from here with these standard bans? Like, what are you looking to play in standard?
I'm just gonna play Teamer Energy with Glimmer instead of Rogue Refiner.
Yeah, it's probably nuts.
But what about a tune?
Whatever. I never drew a tune anyway. I'm never lucky. If you think I had a tune on turn 1, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, this just makes your draws on par with your opponents.
Yeah. Now I can't lose.
Yeah.
Cam, what about you?
I have no idea, honestly.
So-
So I was thinking about going to red because red's probably still really strong because Hazoret stuck around. Like, you lose the extra damage late game from Ramunap, but your 1-drops are better. So you can probably fit it in the early game.
Let me tell you, you should all be playing God Pharaoh's Gift.
That's the other thing I'm interested in trying.
That deck's sweet.
You know what card just shitty for God Pharaoh's Gift? Ferocidon. Gone.
Get out.
No, it also deck was shitty for for God Pharaoh's Gift. Teamer. Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Know what card's great to bring back with God Pharaoh's Gift? Chupacabra.
I mean, I got a pile of like
Let's go.
a
Let's
half-built
go.
God Pharaoh's gift deck on my.
Don't you still have the God Pharaoh's gifts I got you to order for me? I think I'm good.
No, I give them back to you.
Oh, you did?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I ever got them.
Uh,
Oh, maybe Cam has them.
No, I just
Maybe
have
give
mine.
them to him.
We'll check after we
Yeah,
record.
whatever. I just want to get these like
Yeah.
sweet God Pharaoh gifts going. But no, okay, so the reason I joked about playing Teamer with Glimmer is because people were like, why these cards why these energy cards, not these other energy cards, right? And it's like an obvious answer. Despite all these like articles I read, I'm like shaking my head reading them, is Attune produces energy but doesn't need to use it. Rogue Refiner produces energy and doesn't need to use it. Servant of the Conduit produces energy but needs to use it to activate its ability. So those are like the fair and unfair difference between energy cards, right? Like,
Yeah.
so the only one left is Glimmer. Glimmer is and then like even Peaceful, he was like talking about it on that rant, right? He's like, Glimmer is the only other like really offensive one. Like, why do you get to just scry 2, draw 2, and get 2 a free energy that doesn't require anything from that card to spend energy? So like, it's the cards that produce like incidental energy and then don't use them for their abilities that are a problem.
Like, to emphasize that point, this was an example we had. Like, it was common for an Teamer Energy player to cast an Attune and a Rogue Refiner in a game. And so if you look back on games you've played with or against Teamer Energy and just imagine that they have 4 less energy all game, their Cubs are way easier to kill. They have to choose between a Thopter and activating a Hydra now. Like, their entire deck, like, half of it stops functioning.
Yeah, exactly. So like Glimmer, I don't know, it's probably too slow, but I'm curious. I'm joking around about that, but what I'm actually going to play is probably a couple months ago, like 3 months ago maybe, on the podcast, there was a Chinese GP and there was a top 8 Thopters deck. Do you remember it?
Yep.
that played 4 Inventor's Goggles,
Yeah,
4
I
Aether
remember.
Swooper,
Yep.
and Whirl of Virtuoso, and I'm going to splash back for Scarab God,
It's time.
and 4 Decoction Module.
All right.
And I'm going to make energy. Because Whirl of Virtuoso is like nuts still if you can just pop off with
Yeah.
like a bunch of energy. So I'm going to play that for fun, I think. I'm going to put that like hilarious, like Thopters, like Maverick Thopterist, Reverse Engineer, like
Is it time
basically
for
like,
tokens to come back?
yeah, like I think that deck's also very good. Like
Well,
I think,
Token's worst matchup was Teamer. This deck's gone.
Mhm.
What are you going to lose to now? Nothing.
Crafty cut purse.
like Monument decks are probably sweet.
Crafty cut purse.
Yeah, the thing that flashes in, and then you make any tokens your opponent would make.
Oh,
That
You just
is-
let, like, they cast an Anointed Procession, resolves. Hidden Stockpile, resolves. Let them make, like, 4 tokens. Okay, you can gain 4. And then when they get that big turn where they're like, all right, make 16, gain 16. On your second main. Flash in this. Take your tokens, kill you.
that is a crafty sideboard card.
Yeah.
They were really worried about Anointed Procession.
yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited for Standard going forward. Moving on. This is our last episode of their Keep 7 series. Wrapping it all up with Gluttony this week.
Yeah. So I thought I had. There are now, to just wrap up the talk on bans, there are now 7 cards banned in Standard, which is not a great look, but it lines up nicely with, keep 7, lose 7 as we wrap up the series.
That's so insane that there are 7 cards banned in Standard.
Yes.
Wait, didn't some of them rotate? Like, are
There were
Emmer-
9, 2 rotated.
yeesh.
There's 7 right now?
Yes. There are the 4 that just got banned.
Yeah.
Copter, Guardian, and Marvel.
Oh, wow. Man. Kaladesh just ruining everything.
Okay, so another argument to make is that it's all an artifact set's fault.
Yeah.
Because artifact sets historically screw with the color pie, right? And they screw with like what you can and can't do with your mana and what you can and can't do with your resources. And so like maybe they should just,
Stop
Stay away
doing
from
that.
those.
stop making artifact sets always and forever. Like
I mean, or the next artifact set they do, just make the artifacts all colored.
Yeah.
Like if Copter had a color to it,
but then there's
not
no
an issue.
Then there's no meaning to it.
No, you can like have artifact synergies, the things that like count
Nah,
artifacts. It just
you
starts
can't.
being like tribal. But,
No, you can't. That's gonna end badly.
no, but like how
Look at
is-
like Tree of Tales, man. That did not end well.
sure, but like how is a card that counts artifacts and all the artifacts in the set cost a color different than a card that counts pirates and the pirates cost a color?
Yeah, but they'll screw it up.
Yeah, maybe, but like
No
it's
faith.
easier.
If you
it's
look at the
harder to screw
artifact
up.
sets, right? It's like the Urza block, not a good look. Tolarian Academy, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then you go to like what? Affinity, where they had to ban it from the face of the earth on the Standard on the next artifact set, and then Kaladesh next artifact set. And there was 9 cards banned in Standard around that time.
Wasn't the most recent artifact set before Kaladesh that was mirrored in, right? Scars mirrored in,
Yeah.
which brought us Phyrexian mana.
Right.
As
like,
Yeah, a bunch of those cards got banned.
Yeah.
yeah, which are banned in modern, like, and we're just like miserable and are miserable.
Maybe these sets would have been fine if they didn't simultaneously try and combine new resources with artifacts.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Like, why do they always try and do both at the same time?
Well, because maybe they're thinking the resources that the other one won't be as powerful because like before they just went all in on the artifacts. Like originally in Urza's block, right? It was just
Yeah.
like you just get a bunch of artifacts and mana, go to town.
Their thought process was probably like, we're doing an artifact block, which means that a bunch of these cards have boring mana costs, which means we need to make every other card's mana cost exciting.
Yeah. Well, back on
I just
Gluttony.
hope that they can fix that. Like I just hope Standard starts to fire and it's fun and interesting. I just hope that the power level goes back again. Like I don't know, man. Like okay, so another thing too. This is like kind of a long rant about all these like design topics, but I think it's cool to think about and it's just a fun thought experiment. And I'm curious what other people think, if like any listeners want to message us. But one of the other things that Cam and I were saying was like these eras of like good Standard were also during like multicolored sets,
Mhm.
right? Like there were multicolored
Yes.
sets are usually healthy standards in my opinion. So like the Return to Ravnica era, right, that we're
Yep.
talking about was a multicolored sets.
Yep.
Like Return to Ravnica is just all guilds.
Mhm.
And the Standard was amazing because of it, because they couldn't screw up the color pie. You can't just be like, oh, this person gets a sweet color combination, like Scarab God and all the other colors can just like screw off, right? Like all their other stuff sucks. They like not all, obviously all the charms weren't perfect. Like Celestia Charm, like Azorius Charm, they were all good though. Like they all saw play or like had utility somewhere. Like Rakdos Charm even was like a sideboard card. People played it in Modern as a way to kill Splinter Twin players.
Yeah.
Like they really have to balance the color. And the other one was like, even though it kind of degenerated into like, because that was the fault of fetch lands, but like the cons block, right? It was like, it was a fun standard.
Cons
and it was,
block before fetchable duels was sweet.
Yes, before fetchable duels was
Like the rares were fairly well balanced. Like, yeah, Rhino was very good, but so was Mantis Rider.
right.
So, like Knuckleblade had its place for a while.
It did see play for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
The
Wingmare
charms were like, again, Abzan Charm was very good, but like Jeskai Charm saw play.
saw a ton of
Some
play.
people were using Mardu Charm. Like Sultai Charm saw play in like a couple control decks.
There was a Sultai deck that won a GP. Like a Sultai mid-range control deck playing Sultai Charms. Like won a GP. Like, yeah, like there were all these guys. So I think that like when the power level is high in standard, it kind of makes the format healthier because there's so many options that you can win with anything. Whereas like in standard for last year, you can't win with anything. You can win with one of two things. And that's the problem.
Every time people talk about like, oh, this standard was sweet, you could play cards A, B, C. All these cards are cards that are now played in Modern to some degree.
Power level is like through the
Everybody likes standards that involve cards that are now Modern power level.
You know, it's kind of funny that the two standards you just mentioned, both were linked by Theros, and it's arguable that Theros block was the one that ruined standard because coming off Return to Ravnica, you brought in Theros block with Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
And then you had the mono black, mono blue era, which was pretty miserable.
People hated it. I liked it.
It was Devotion. Devotion is strictly not a multicolor.
Yeah. Single colors.
mechanic.
ruining
And people
everything.
hated it. Yeah, exactly. Right.
We
so
need
like,
this multicolor diversity.
right,
It's
exactly.
2018.
Yeah. Right. So like, yeah, people hated that era because it was a single color devotion set, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. We solved it. Watsy,
And they just got to
send
hire
us
us.
a check, please. No, they're gonna.
Okay, then
Hire us for consulting
consider
services.
this conspiracy.
Oh boy.
Why did they ban Attune with Aether, which supports playing multicolor?
Because it's the mechanic.
Tune with Aether is not a multicolor card, though. It costs 1 green.
Correct.
If it cost a green and
You know the like
Something else.
the
you
split
go.
cost cards that are like red green halfway. You know,
Yeah.
they should have made it 2 with 8. They're just 5, like a pie split. Just any color.
Yeah, they did. Because you go turn 1, Aether Hub, cast Attune with Aether.
Oh yeah,
could you imagine?
not bad.
Could you imagine if it actually did?
Yeah, it'd be nuts. I mean, it would have been banned just like it is now.
Yeah, it would have been played in every deck.
But
Yeah.
things are looking up. I think I like from what I see online. Like I'm kind of like, ugh. I hope they don't keep banning stuff that looks bad. Like it just looks bad,
Yeah.
and they're like admitting defeat basically, or like admitting how badly they screwed up. But I think things are looking up. People are excited to play standard again from like all accounts. Limited low sweet again. Because like I did not like Ixalan. I made that I was pretty vocal about it on the podcast. Like
Yep.
format was terrible.
Agree.
Like draft was better than sealed, but it still sucked.
Yep.
It just wasn't interesting.
hmm
And
I thought it was okay at the start, and then the more and more I played it, the more I realized
Yeah.
it was just miserable.
yeah, it's just a miserable format. Wasn't interesting. You didn't make interesting decisions. Whereas this one already it feels way better.
Yeah.
Way more excited about it. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm hoping Wizard of the Coast has figured it out after this really rough past year and a bit, and maybe we'll start seeing better answers in Standard and won't have history repeat itself.
We can hope.
Anyway, back onto Gluttony.
Finally.
Cam, how are we linking Gluttony this week?
We're just full on these bands discussion.
Yeah. So, the last topic in Keep 7 is gluttony, the only sin we haven't gotten around to dealing with. And we really wanted to talk about combat tricks for gluttony because A, they make creatures huge, as eating too much does. And B, as we'll kind of explain a bit more thoroughly, there was a lot of times this weekend during pre-release where we saw people kind of play too scared of combat tricks or play around combat tricks in the wrong way and play themselves into a corner that they couldn't get out of because of their fear of combat tricks. So the sort of example was that they would have a 2/2 and get attacked by a 1/1 and they wouldn't block because, what if they have a trick to eat my 2/2? But that's exactly what you want them to eat with your trick, is your small creature, not have two large creatures hit each other in combat, and then you lose your large creature to a 1 mana trick. So the other way to link this to Gluttony is if you're getting attacked early in the game, try and eat something. Block. Try and eat the creature. Try and eat the combat trick.
You don't want to eat too much damage, so you, like you said, play yourself into a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that's what you should be focused on.
Yeah, like I had an opponent, I think I attacked like my 2/2 into his 3/3. Like I was on the draw, like played my third land and attacked. And he just like no blocked. And I was like, I don't even have a combat trick, but I knew he wouldn't block because he just didn't block another game. And I was like, okay. So I just attacked. He's like, no blocks, like all proud playing around combat trick. And I was like, bluff for the century, you know, like kind of just like shaking my head, like, come on. Like, and then I played a 3-drop.
It was all you can eat buffet.
Yeah. See, in situations like that, you'd rather.
But like, it was insane to me.
Yeah.
Insane. I'm like, dude, just block and screw up my curve.
Yeah.
Just screw up my curve when I use the combat trick. And like, do you really care about your 3/3? Like, yeah, sure, I get to keep a 2/2. You know what happened like 6 turns later? I attacked with my Trapjaw Raptor, and he blocked with like a 6/6. And it got eaten by a combat trick. You know what I mean? I bet you wish that I didn't have that combat trick. I didn't at the time. I actually bluffed it. I drew it like that turn I attacked, but I wouldn't have attacked without it.
Yeah.
But like, just getting the card out of their hand, like eating the card in their hand is better. Like it's than getting your 5-drop killed by their 4-drop later. Like if they have a 4/4 and you have a 5/5 and they get to block and combat trick and kill your like bomb, that's way worse. Like just get it out early. Like and it gives you more information about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it screws up their curve. Like this is why I hate combat tricks, and I don't think combat tricks are good because they like reveal too much and give away too information and are too risky on the curve. You can only play them in like the most aggressive decks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another problem people have, right? Is like they fill up their deck with like these combat tricks and like they don't really suit the curve. Like that's another thing you have to be careful with, right? Is like, can my deck really afford to take the time to play this card? There's certain combat tricks that are like busted if you set them up, but still there's so much work, right?
If you think about it, the fact that so many players like combat tricks and that when you ask them about it or when they're deck building, they'll say like, oh, this trick's good because it can trade up, or like this trick's good because it can save whatever, is probably true in a lot of games they play. Because if their opponents are playing scared of combat tricks early and not wanting to trade, and then only blocking or participating in combat near the end of the game when they kind of have to, then yeah, as you said, like those tricks will be there at the end game and they'll always look very good. And so kind of the way you can get percentage points against players that like playing combat tricks is just make them use it early, which they're not used to their opponents doing.
Right.
Just block always.
Yeah, like if that's the kind of deck you're playing against and you know that that's how they play and you know you're just going to curve efficient creatures up the curve, then just block. And then eventually like they're going to be left with these 2/2s that they used combat tricks on that are still 2/2s and you're going to have 4/4s. Like just if you're going to out curve them, right? If that's how you've built your deck, which then if that's your deck, you shouldn't be playing combat tricks because your plan is to just efficiently curve up, right? And become efficient. So people really overrate them and they don't. But then they get good because people don't block. Trying to eat stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge mistake people make with combat tricks, right? Like, and like I think a lot of the times as well in limited, like you should board them out for just creatures post board because they've already done their job. If you're like reasonable at playing them,
even maybe just even on the draw when you're going to have.
I mean,
less
there's still a
your
virtual
opponent.
card in your deck if you're boarding them out sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
You can make people play around them. if
Right,
you
like
board
people
them
are
out.
still going to play around them, and you can still get people to attack and block how you want.
Mm-hmm.
Although Divine Verdict, I want to bring this up, is the best combat trick in the format
Agree.
because man, you can get people like when they double block, and then you Divine Verdict, the one that matters, and they just get 2 for 1 back to
I mean,
Stone Age.
Divine Verdict is like a combat trick in the loosest sense of the word. It's just a removal spell.
I just love.
Oh, but you can only cast it in combat.
Yeah.
It's a combat trick.
Yeah, see?
Aware?
So Divine Verdict being in a limited format means that I'm going to probably love that limited format because it's like, I think it's a very healthy spell. Like it's good, it's solid. It's like, you can always have one. It's fun to play around it. Like I got to play around it in combat like all weekend and it was so rewarding because like I knew one of my opponents had it. It was really telegraphed and it felt like so satisfying to like know it was there and just force them into finally using it on a creature they didn't really want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's kind of like, you can decide how you're going to like curve on, like how you're going to attack into combat tricks that people use defensively as well. Like I find those like satisfying, and I think it's like one of the more satisfying things in combat, because like I don't usually like the red zone, but in limited I do. And yeah, Divine Verdict being in the form is a huge kind of thing for that. So Divine Verdict though is like Andre the Giant is always eating something. Like it's gonna eat.
Yeah.
It eats whatever it wants. Also of note, staying hungry. Recover in this format. Just block.
Yeah.
Just block. Just get it back later. Just get your guy back later. If
Yeah.
they use a combat trick, you just recover.
Recover isn't a card we mentioned in our impressive cards.
I forgot.
Man, that
I'm
card was good.
Dude, it is my favorite card in the format.
It's so
it's
good.
not close to my favorite card in the format.
I think because when everyone's building their deck, especially at the first and second pre-release, everyone's saying, "Oh, what do you think of this card? How do you think that card will line up?" And I heard a lot of people kind of say, "I don't know, like it's a 3-mana sorcery. It could just be a different like another creature." And then those same people,
It could be 2 creatures.
and then those same people would play against someone, and their opponent would cast it, and they'd go, "Oh, I was very wrong." Like,
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Every time I cast it, I was like, "This game is over."
Like in the second tournament, I cast a Champion of Dusk, drew 3 cards off it, traded it off for one of his guys, cast Recover, brought it back to my hand, drew a card. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this card's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like the fact that it draws a card.
My opponent was like, oh man.
I played like the black-white splashing blue, kind of like a grindy black-white mirror. Because I was 3 colors, but like mostly black-white focus deck, And I was playing the mirror, and like I had Recover, and then I boarded in March of the Drowned or whatever it is.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I was
yeah,
just like,
the Raised Dead.
The Raised Dead, and I was like, I don't know how he wins. Like, he even said at one point, he's like, I don't know, like, it's probably just sealed quality, like, your seal pool's better. I'm like, yeah, because I have these 2 commons in my deck. Like, you can't win, like, the long game. Like, it's too grindy. Like, Recover's insane.
Yeah.
So in sealed decks,
It draws a card. Why?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, that card gets a lot of value, yeah. So, yeah, it's funny, like, we're kind of moving off combat tricks, but it's kind of a funny conversation about, like, how they line up in this format and how they line up in general, right? Like, in this format, if it's in sealed at least, like draft, we'll see if Recover pans out. But just try and eat the card, eat the combat trick.
And I guess it's good to emphasize that, like, if you have been playing a lot of Ixalan Limited recently, you kind of want to remind yourself how to properly play against combat tricks and like try and eat them, like try and trade them off early and such. And this will work in Rivals of Ixalan. In just 3 Ixalan, playing like this probably didn't work, because if your opponent got that tempo and was ahead on board and ate your 2-drop, you might die.
Yes.
Because Ixalan was so like snowbally, it made combat tricks look better, and it made it feel worse to like try and deal with them early.
That's the thing. There's actually very good combat tricks in this format. Like, think about it. Skullduggery, Vampire Zeal, River Herald's Boon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these are all really good tricks.
The white,
Yeah, but there's less of those.
The new white one that's 1 mana +2/+2 and you gain 2 life.
Yeah.
That card's real good. But the thing is, like, I don't think it'll be as tempo-y. That's the thing. Like, combat tricks, like, yeah, Cam's right. Like, they're good when the format is snowbally.
Like you even said it earlier. Like, sure, trade your guy your early 2-drop for their combat trick, because later in the game they'll have 2/2s and you'll have a 4/4. That didn't really happen in Ixalan, or it didn't matter, because their 2/2s turned into +2/+2 lifelink, and like you just got ran over.
Yeah, and also River Herald's Boon was just offensive.
Yeah, but in this format, like, they can save their early plays and be ahead on board in the early game, and then you can catch up with whatever.
Well, that's what happened to you when we played. Remember, like,
Yeah,
I caught up. Like,
yeah, exactly. If I drew well enough, I would kill you. But if you ever kind of stabilized, then you would catch up and I couldn't win. Whereas
you didn't snowball because you
yeah.
were just still had a 2/1. Like,
Exactly.
it wasn't a big deal.
But in Ixalan, if I got ahead, I would just kind of stay ahead until you died.
Right, because I'd play a 5-mana 3/3 and still be behind. Right, whereas like now, like, it feels like you have the power level to come back. So yeah, it's always interesting, like, in the decision in limited, whether and how many combat tricks you should play, right, in general, like, and how to play around them. Like, I'm not a fan of them, but if I were playing them, like, I would, in like a really aggressive deck, you probably want like 3 or 4, because they're essentially removal spells, and it depends what they are. Like, the ones that give first strike are generally like basically going to be a removal spell in combat.
Yeah.
But again, like, you have to accept that, like, that turn, then you used a removal spell to not get damaged through, right? Like, yeah, you always have to weigh these things in limited of, like, how aggressive you are and if you can get away with it and snowball. And if your deck is capable of snowballing and pushing damage, right? Because I see a lot of people play combat tricks and their deck isn't capable of snowballing anyway.
Yeah.
So their combat trick just like didn't really matter. And if you forced them to use it early, it was useless, right? Combat tricks in those kind of decks are better later.
Mm-hmm.
Like the longer the game goes, because then they can trade way up. So, yeah, interesting format for that. I think it's going to be a good format. Also, Divine Verdict, sweet anti-combat trick card.
There
True.
you go. Yeah. The Divine Verdict, when was the last time we had Divine Verdict?
Born of the Gods, Theros Limited.
Yeah, it was great then,
That
too.
limited format was maybe my highest win percentage limited format of all time. That was when I missed on Breakers on top 8 for GP Montreal. Remember that?
All I did was lose in that format.
I couldn't stop winning.
I couldn't stop losing.
Yeah, Magic is a zero-sum game.
I can remember, I think it was the one you almost top 8'd in Montreal, Born of the Gods Sealed.
Yeah.
It's the only GP I've ever lost in round 1.
I
Got crushed by a
just would
Pellucranos.
draft. I would just draft Scholar of Athreos and just smash everybody. Well, and by smash, I mean drain them for 1 a turn over 20 turns. They just sat there miserable. Because, like this format, it had Divine Verdict and a bunch of like varied removal spells in the limited format, but also like it had I can't remember what the card was, but it was like 3 mana, return 2 creatures from your graveyard to your hand.
Oh,
March of the Returned.
no, that's in Ixalan.
No, that's March of the Drowned.
Oh, March of
the Returned is the one with the gold face like zombies on it. That's
Oh,
it is that one.
Yeah.
And so like I would just play that card, and it's basically 3 mana draw. It's just divination for exactly the 2 cards I want in my graveyard.
Yeah.
So and like the Gorgons, Black White was so good. But like I'm a big fan of those kind of grindy formats, and I kind of was hoping originally that Ixalan would end up this way because of like Looming Allosaur, like the 4 mana? Yeah, the 4 mana 1/7. I was like, man, here we go. Like we're slowly getting there, and now that's a card impact 3 where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm drafting that because I like dirtily do nothing draft decks that just like play an early, couple things to stall and then just grind. And like I feel like this format finally might be a place where we can do that in draft.
It feels very grindy.
And I love that. Like so I'm really excited to be as greedy and hungry as possible about playing these big fatties.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't think we talked about this, but I want to jump back quickly to standard and efficient answers because there was a card I opened this weekend which does answer Hazaret 1-for-1. Slaughter the Strong.
Oh yeah, the Wrath.
Oh, it does. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but the problem is it doesn't answer anything else in red, basically.
And it's white.
Yeah, but
I know. It's like that's a cool card though. I think it's actually has a place. I got Wrath with it. At the midnight pre-release, I got full Wrath. Like I had like all 5 and 6 power guys in play, like 4 of them, and I was like, wow, this guy's toast. And then he top decked that, and I was like, damn. And then I killed him with a 2/2, but. That I was like, oh, top deck 2/2, let's go. Because we were just like, no cards in hand. But that card actually might have a place.
Mm-hmm.
That card is quite interesting. The problem is that decks are so varied these days in their creature threat, right?
Yeah. I don't know, like what deck plays it?
Is it better than Dust Dawn? That card's still legal. Woof, I forgot.
Dusk Dawn.
I mean, if you're expecting a lot of Hazarets, yes.
Because it's sacrifice, yeah.
Yeah.
But like they could play that card versus Hazard decks because they can deal with everything else. Like the decks that would play Dust Dawn can beat everything but Hazard.
Yeah.
Right? Like Monument decks. They can beat everything but Hazard.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Also,
or even if
interesting
just like
versus
blue-white.
God-Pharaoh's Gift.
Yeah.
Oh, because they can only keep 1 token.
No, they sack them all.
They sack. It's combined.
No, it's you sack everything that's 4 or greater.
No.
You
combined power 4. So you can keep 1 4-power creature.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it might be flying under the radar a bit. It might be a good answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kills every god. Like the only other god that's relevant is Ronus.
Doesn't kill Okatra.
Yeah. True. Is Bontu a 4/6?
Yes.
Gets that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
All
don't know.
those gods that see play.
Food for thought.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting card, actually. There's probably like lots of space for these kind of niche cards, but I don't know. I feel like the kind of core decks are still going to stick around. Like we already kind of know what they are, right? Like, I don't think there's going to be like new archetypes, except maybe like a blue-black pirate-ish kind of.
There will be
mid-range.
a Dinos deck.
Yeah, I'll give you
counts.
that. Like commune with dinos with like Thunder.
I don't even know if
is it Thunderherd migration?
you play Commune with
Yeah.
Dinos, but you play Rampant Growth for sure.
I think you
Thunderherd
play commune
Migration.
too. That card's good.
Maybe if there's enough slots because you want to play all your fatties.
Yeah, no, the
It's just a
Dino
tutor
deck
for your good fatties.
and the Dino deck probably just
Tutor.
plays a bunch of the Chandras,
Yeah,
right? Like it has to.
maybe.
Yeah, that mid-range deck needs to play Planeswalkers at somewhere in the board or in the main. Like it's gonna play them. But yeah, no, like that deck has potential. And like, I mean, maybe it's Jund, right? I think it's Jund, the Dinos deck, and that's why it plays Commune because I think it plays Tetsamok.
Ooh, you get Vraska.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it plays Tetsamok, right?
Ooh.
Because then, like, the reason I think Tetsamok might be standard playable is because, the one black is just a mana fill. Like it fills your curve, right? Like,
Yeah, that is
it's
sweet.
like what Thraben Inspector did. It just gave you something to do with your mana later on turns where you drew another one. Like on turn 4 where you play a 3-drop, you're like, okay, well, put a prey counter on that thing, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of decisions to be made with that card, and like, so I think a Jund Dinos deck is like actually probably viable with that card because that card answers also a lot of the problems of the Dino. Because the Dino deck like is just a dumb like play big fatty idiots deck. They can't interact if somebody's
you get
like,
all the best removal spells.
but if somebody's playing like tempo-y kind of whatever deck, like you might have a problem. But now with Tetsamok, you just ramp them to turn 6 and just
Yeah.
kill all their stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think Jund Dinos could be pretty interesting. I'd be interested. Like, I think that's probably going to be the configuration. Be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
There's lots to play around with in standard, like lots and lots.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a ton of option for removal.
No.
Dinos.
Well, like, yeah. I mean, you have a Braid and you have Harness Lightning. You have Savage Stomp.
Yeah, that card's so risky though.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of playing Savage Stomp. Like between a Braid, Harness Lightning, Vraska's Contempt, Push. Like, what else do you want?
Yeah. I mean, push isn't even that busted in standard. Push is just fine in standard.
Yeah.
It's just busted in every other format. So like people just automatically think it's insane in standard, but it's just like an okay removal spell in standard.
I mean, I think it got a slight buff by the bans because, like, if decks aren't playing Attune with Aether, they probably go back to some number of Evolving Wilds, which makes their pushes more consistent.
Yes, that definitely makes the push better. Push probably upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that like Sultai decks could still be good too. I don't know. Standard's going to be wild.
Yep.
I'm going to play some this week actually. So
Yeah, I want to go play on
Alright.
Friday.
yeah, I'm going to go play on Friday. I'm going to go
I
play
got a
the
blue-black
Whirly Virtuoso.
Godfarrow's Gift brew.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many Chupacabras? Better be 4.
Yeah.
Good.
I only own 2 at the moment, but it's going to be 4. Because, like, the combo, if I do this once on Friday, it's going to be sweet. The combo I want to do is, like, make a Godfarrow's Gift, and then the next turn, use all of my mana revealing a Tetsamok from hand, and then make a copy of one from the graveyard that kills everything I just marked.
Yeah, and then just keep the one in your hand because like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same one. Like,
Yeah.
You couldn't prove that. So
And it's on theme. They're prey counters. You know what happens to prey? Gets eaten.
Getty.
Yeah. Let me know how that goes.
Will do.
Godfarrow Gift. Love that card. It's great. Won't be many Braids running around probably either.
Oh yeah, we good to go.
Yeah.
As long as you do something like slightly synergistic and unfair, I feel like you're going to play against a lot of tribal decks in these first few weeks that people
Oh
just
yeah,
think are
we didn't
sweet.
even talk about it, but like obviously the Merfolk standard deck has legs.
Yeah, that's a new archetype that'll be around.
I think so.
Mm,
Unblockable is really obnoxious.
that card's never living.
It's kind of discriminatory, isn't it? Obviously has legs.
The Merman. We don't.
Yeah.
Merfolk deck could be real though. Could be. I
I don't
mean,
think
Silver Grail Adept's a big deal.
I don't think so. How do you ever beat?
What? There's no good removal.
How do you beat Godfarrow's Gift?
Unblockable.
How do you ever beat a Godfarrow's Gift deck?
Unblockable. You play unsummon. They're
Unblockable.
tokens.
Play the Repulse. They're tokens.
Yeah.
That sounds so bad. After you what? 8-6.
We'll figure it out.
I don't know, man. I don't. I
After you
think
get $1 billion from Kumina speaker.
Yeah, but how do you? Okay, but on the same vein, how do you not die to like them just pumping up a couple guys on turns 1, 2, 3
how do you beat a
as you're
Hazard?
setting up your
You block with your like 7, 8 Merfolk.
see the aforementioned bounce spells?
Yeah. Get out of here, Hazard. Come back next time.
I don't know, man.
Better yet,
With haste.
I think that deck's.
Well,
a
no, you
little
just bounce something
overhyped.
into their hand, and then they got 2 cards. Now what?
Didn't it make a 5-0 deck list?
Oh man, it made a 5-0 deck list. Must be good.
Got to be real.
It was pretty good in limited. Just played standard.
the classic brewer's dream. No, I don't know. I think it might be okay. We'll see.
I don't know.
Can't beat Chupacabra though.
I hope Angrath ends up being good. I pre-ordered 2 because they were $10, and then I opened 2 in my prize packs. So now I just have a play set, and well, hopefully they're good.
We'll just brew a deck, make it good.
Yeah.
Play it in John
John
Dinos.
Dinos, there you
Standards
go.
wide open.
There you go, John Dinos, man.
John Planeswalkers, not playing dinos.
John Walkers.
How many dinos do we have to play to make rampant growth good?
Like 12?
Yeah, I was going to say 12.
12 to 16.
Ripjaw Raptor, Deathgord Scavenger, Carnage Tyrant, 12.
Easy
Gun.
game. I don't think Regisaur Alpha is actually good.
No,
Being split across those 2 bodies, not great.
not good enough.
But Deathgord Scavenger is amazing. And like you just play it on 3 and be happy anyway. Ripjaw Raptor's good.
I don't think there's a deck you wouldn't want that card again. Like,
Right.
Great versus Godfarrow's Gift. It's fine versus mono. It's good versus mono red.
Yeah. That card does everything.
Yeah.
All right. John Dinos, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Don't have a blowout this week. We're too full.
No. I think I got one.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So in the pre-release that I went 3-0 and then split in the last round, we played for fun. It was against Curtis, a friend of ours. And I was playing, I actually liked this deck a lot because it was something I hadn't played in limited for a while. Just blue-white control with like a couple flyers and a blue dino, the Elder Dino, the 7/7 to finish. And then like 2 Secrets of the Golden City just to draw a bunch of cards. But my deck was all just like claustrophobias and pacifisms.
Hype.
And then like a bunch of vampire tokens to like gain life and stabilize. Maybe play a 7/7 at the end.
Did you have the 2-mana 2/1?
No.
We didn't mention that card at all.
Martyr of Dusk is a very good card.
And the
I didn't
2-mana
have any,
2/1 when it dies,
unfortunately.
make a 1/1 lifelink. Card nuts.
Anyway, so all my removal leaves the creature on the board, notably.
Oh, right.
And Curtis played against me on his turn 5, Tendershoot Dryad. Passed, made a 1/1. Untapped, made a 1/1. That gave him a send. They're now 3/3s. Cast another Tendershoot Dryad. Passed, made 2 5/5s.
What does that card do?
So it's a 5-mana 2/2. On each upkeep, make a 1/1 Saproling. If you have the city's blessing, your Saprolings get +2/+2. So he had 2 of these, which I actually can't get off the board. I can stop the 2/2 from attacking. I can even tap the 2/2. But I can't stop
2
The
5/5s every turn.
every turn. So like 4 every turn cycle.
Yeesh.
I blocked a couple with my 7/7, but I couldn't even attack. He would just chump with one of his 5/5s and still be up 15 power.
Man, that deck Curtis had, well, I watched him mow down so many boards with the, what's the 4-mana red card that you search a dino, put it on top of your deck, and then when you play a dino, it pings everything?
There's
It's Forerunner.
Forerunner of the Empire is the tutor, the 1/3 that vampiric tutors a dino on top of your deck.
Yeah,
And
so
then go
that card with Needletooth Raptor, he just obliterated people with that combo. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Man.
That is a combo worth watching in your draft decks because that's not that hard to pull off either.
People asked me a bunch about like Needletooth Raptor and what I thought. And I thought it was like maybe medium, not great, and that
Man,
it would need
card's
enablers.
Such a pain in the ass.
Its power level ramps up so ridiculously
Deals 5
as soon as you have
damage.
enablers.
Yeah.
5 damage is so much damage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It kills everything.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that is something to play around and pay attention to in this format. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Tendershoot Dryad, pretty busted.
I'll report back with these standard brews next week.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch of like limited experience and new standard
I
experience.
can't
and
wait. I'm going to play random junk.
All right. Thank you all for joining the club this week. Make sure, as always, you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs. Great store, great people, great sponsors of this podcast. And however you listen to this podcast, whether it's on Podbean, iTunes, or your podcast app, leave us a review, share it with your friends. Everything helps grow the podcast. You can also shoot us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at DWC Podcast 1. Send us a message. We're very good at answering those.
Got to grow the podcast to get huge.
just feed us them likes.
All right, we'll see you all next week.